everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paola, and today I have a very special guest. Lydia, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about your book?
Hi, I'm Lydia San Andres, and I write historical romances set in the Spanish Caribbean, and I have written a book called Compromise into a Scandalous Marriage for Harlequin Historical. Let me not cover up my name. I'm really proud because this is the first time that I've seen my name in print, like my words in print, because I've been writing historical romances for about 7 years now, I think, and they're all ebook only. So, I keep this by my side. They keep stroking it. No, I'm really not actually that weird. This book is about a woman called Paulina who has an incredibly emotionally abusive brother. And she, one night during a thunderstorm, the day of her birthday, actually, she gets really angry at her and he forces her out of the house during a thunderstorm, and the only place she has to take refuge is in her neighbor Sebastian's apartment. Well, not apartment, house. I don't know what the words are. I forget. Her brother finds them the next day and insists that they get married because she spent the night at a man's house alone with him. So that's kind of the start of the book. The wildest thing about it is that it's true. It actually happened.
Oh, wow.
So last year I was looking through the archives, as one does, like any normal person, just reading historical documents for the hell of it. And I came across this one. It was a legal case where a man was trying to get an annulment for a marriage because he felt like he had been tricked into it. His neighbor, his young female neighbor, had come into his house during a thunderstorm saying that she had had a fight with her family and they had thrown her out and she had nowhere else to go. And then the family came in the next day and basically forced him at gunpoint to marry her. So when I read that, I knew, oh my God, this is the start of a really exciting historical romance. I just knew I had to take that inspiration from it.
Oh my goodness, that is so wild. Like, I could never imagine being in a situation like that, but I'm glad you made it romantic and historical and just so good. Also, I love the cover. Harlequin romances covers are just top tier, and yours is so cute but also like sizzling. I love it. I love people in the covers of my adult romances. So I absolutely loved Paulina and Sebastian. So what's the key? What would you say is the key to developing character arcs that fit into the happily ever after?
So in this case, it was a little bit tricky because it is a forced marriage, right? So I think the most important thing for me was establishing from the first that there was a spark there between them. There was a connection there, and even though neither one of them was necessarily ready to sort of leap into something with one another, there was an attraction there, and there was a baseline for them to sort of grow from. And the other thing is that you really have to know what are the barriers that are keeping them from finding love or from believing that they can have love or that they can have the love that they long for and the love that they need. And you kind of have to know how the other person is going to fit into that.
Oh, I love that. That's a really wholesome answer. And it's tricky. Like, Harlequin romances are short. Like, it's a short amount of pages to work with, but you killed it. Like, it was incredible. So marriage of convenience is such an interesting trope to explore. It's like fake dating taken to another level, and especially in historical romance. So what are some of the highlights and what are some of the challenges that come with writing stories like Paulina's and Sebastian's?
One of the highlights for me was definitely that it involves a forced proximity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sucker for. It's just so many opportunities for them to interact in ways that when you think about a traditional, like a normal historical romance, these are couples who are not going to be, sharing a space that intimately. but
Yeah.
this situation creates for a lot of intimacy like right away. As for challenges, I don't know. I mean, I know that I did struggle a little with them sort of resenting this thing that had been thrust upon them, even though they liked each other before. I know that for a very long time they were so resentful at having been forced into a marriage that I ended up having to cut out a couple of chapters because the angst was just too much. And I don't do angst. Angst is really hard for me. So yeah, that was a definitely challenge.
Yeah, it's an interesting trope to navigate. And I love the forced proximity in it as well. Speaking of tropes, what are some of the tropes that you would like to see more of in historical romance?
All right, so I'm a sucker. My all-time favorite trope is enemies to lovers, but we all know that that is a staple in historical romance. Now, another trope that I really like is probably forbidden love. You know, the two families, Montagues and Capulets, always love it. And matchmakers. Why are there not more historical romance about matchmakers? That will get me every single time. The matchmaker who can find somebody for everybody except herself.
Yes. Oh, I would read that so fast. Yes. So this is the game. It's a bookish would you rather. So, would you rather secretly love a book that everyone else hates or secretly hate a book that everybody else loves?
Secretly hate a book that everybody loves.
Would you rather have dinner with your favorite dead author or your favorite dead character?
Oh my god, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say character. I love writers. Sometimes they're very interesting. Sometimes it's a situation of don't meet your heroes because they might disappoint you. But a character, I don't know which one specifically I would pick. But yes, somebody fictional, please.
Would you rather live in a fairy tale or in a romance?
Romance. 100% romance.
Would you rather forget all of your favorite series and discover them all over again, or remember every detail of every book you read?
My memory is so bad. I swear to you, it's so bad. I could read a book 3 times and then I'll read it a 4th time, and it's like I'm reading it for the first time. I used to call it a curse, but actually it's kind of a blessing because coming into things just fresh like that, just simply because you cannot remember it, it's amazing. It's amazing. You get to experience the same thing over and over and over again.
I love that answer. And finally, would you rather have a friend who loses your books or one who doggy ears them?
I'm going to go with dog eared because I'm not precious about my paperbacks. I will dog ear them myself. But if somebody loses a book of mine, we're going to have words.
And finally, do you have anything else that you want to plug? Something else to talk about? Other books? Other projects?
A few things coming down the pipeline, including a redesign of the cover for one of my first books. It's called The Infamous Miss Rodriguez, and it's getting a whole little revamp. Hopefully will be out soon. And I am working on the last few chapters of the second book for Harlequin Historical, and this one is going to be a romp. I keep joking sister that it should be called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because the characters get on a train, they get on a ship, they go places. It's been so much fun to write, and I cannot wait for everybody to read that one too.
Nice. That's exciting. I'm excited about the revamp. People at home, thank you so much for watching. Definitely check out the description below so that you can look at the buy links and ways to support Lydia. I know I'm very appreciative of her words, and hopefully you will be too. Lydia, thank you so much for doing this with me. I've been wanting to talk to you for like forever, so I'm really glad that we got to sit down and chat.
Thank you so much for having me.
People at home, once again, thank you so much for watching. Check out the description below for buy links, and we will see you hopefully in another one. Bye!